So we suggest that people try to contribute to a particularly pressing global problem, which I guess we have like various rules of thumb for trying to figure out what global problems are especially pressing, like, how many people are affected by the problem and how much. How many people are already trying to solve the problem? So is it neglected, and might there be low-hanging fruit still there? Does it seem like a problem that's just extremely intractable and hard to solve because there's systemic reasons why it's insoluble, or does it seem like there's no particular reason why it couldn't be fixed? People will look at other rules of thumb as well, like, is this a particularly urgent issue, or is this maybe a problem that can be left to future generations to fix up? So we often suggest that people first think, look out at the world and see, what does the world need? What problems are most burning and most desperately need solving? Then we also think once people have chosen a problem, they should try to take an approach that gets a lot of leverage on it, that gets a lot of bang for buck out of their time in trying to fix it. So often that means looking at kind of what is the bottleneck to fixing this problem. Sometimes it's a lack of ideas. Sometimes it's a lack of money. So people should maybe go earn to give and donate. Other times it's a lack of, skills that are needed to build the organizations or the projects that might fix it. Often we suggest, for example, going and shaping government policy can get you a lot of leverage, just because government spends so much money. And also sometimes conducting fundamental research can get a lot of leverage because that research can end up influencing what a lot of other people do. And then I guess a next step would be to try to find a role that has a very good personal fit for you. So that, there's no point saying conducting fundamental research is a really valuable thing in principle if you just don't have the disposition for research. And it seems like people's suitability for different roles can vary massively. And you really want to find an area where you can thrive and excel and be especially good, but better than other people. So try to potentially find your kind of comparative advantage. And then I guess maybe another distinctive idea or something that we talk about quite a bit is that especially early on in people's career, they should focus on building up career capital, try to think about a lot about improving their skills and improving their network and figuring out what they're good at, because they've got, decades ahead in their career to potentially use those skills and that knowledge that they build up. I guess, we don't think that people should focus only on having an impact, but I guess it is kind of part of the message that we think, especially, or at least people in our audience, people who are, very educated, often very, very privileged, potentially, who could have a lot of influence on solving some of these pressing global problems. We think that it would be a good thing if they spent more time thinking about, how could they help others rather than just how could they have a career that's enjoyable to them. How does that sound?
In principle, that all sounds great. But I don't really actually think it's the right way to think about how to live your life or how to live your career. So let me try to suggest some things I find troubling about it. So you mentioned a whole bunch of factors. They're all reasonable. Any one of them is extremely reasonable. You should tackle an important problem. You should tackle a problem that people have not successfully solved, that you might have a chance of improving, that you might have an impact. It's a variation, really, of expected value theory to me. It's like saying there's uncertainty about how your life's going to turn out. It's uncertain about what you're good at. It's uncertain about what the impact of your efforts will be. So try to maximize the full impact. So if you pick a problem that's trivial and that you can't help much, you're not going to have a big expected value. If you pick a problem that's important and you can help a lot, that would seem to be a better problem to devote yourself to. So those are all, reasonable in describing them. But in practice, when I have multiple factors that, like you've laid out, how do I deal with the trade-offs between this? So let me give you an example. When I was